Today, we are going to pretend that we can journey deep, deep into the Earth, all the way to the very center, nearly 4,000 miles from where you are sitting right now. The first stop is the layer beneath the crust, which is called the mantle. The mantle is a whopping 1,800 miles thick and contains most of the Earth's rock. Because most of the Earth is made of rock, that means that most of the Earth is contained within the mantle. The mantle is mostly made of solid rock. The closer to the crust, the cooler and harder the mantle tends to be. But as you go deeper, closer to the core, the mantle gets hotter and becomes soft and gooey. Heat closer to the core causes the rock inside the mantle to move around quite a bit. But in most places, it is still solid rather than liquid. The mantle surrounds the core or center of the Earth. The core has two parts, the inner core and the outer core. The inner core is a solid metal ball. The outer core is also metal, but it is not solid. It is made up of melted or molten metal. This means that deep down inside the Earth, thousands of miles beneath your feet, there is a giant sea of red-hot molten metal surrounding a solid metal ball. Scientists believe that the very center of the Earth, the inner core, is actually hotter than the surface of the sun, which is a blazing 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The inner core is much hotter than the outer core. It may seem strange, therefore, that the outer core of the Earth is molten metal. Yet, the inner core, at the very center of the Earth where it is hottest, is a solid ball of metal, which, by the way, is just a bit smaller than the moon. The reason that the inner core is solid has to do with the incredible pressure of the Earth's entire weight pressing inward. The more pressure you put on something, the more heat you need to cause that thing to boil or melt. This is why the metal at the very center of the Earth, the inner core, is solid instead of liquid. Despite the intense heat, there is simply too much pressure caused by the weight of the rest of the Earth. So the center of the Earth cannot melt and it remains solid. The crust upon which we live is constantly being changed and reshaped due to heat and pressure caused by activity in the Earth's mantle and core. The San Bernardino Mountains that you see in this picture, along with many other mountains along the west coast of North America, from Mexico to Alaska, were created by changes inside the Earth. Remember, the parts of the mantle that are closest to the core are soft and gooey. That hot, gooey material in the mantle does not always stay in the mantle. Sometimes it rises up to the surface. Every so often, some of that extremely hot molten rock, or magma, pushes up through the mantle and forces its way into cracks and crevices in the crust. Over time, the magma collects in a magma chamber, such as the one near the bottom of the picture. The heat in the magma chamber releases gas from the magma, which builds up and creates pressure. The pressure builds and builds until, one day, boom, the magma erupts in a volcano of lava, ash, gas, and fire. Once it is released from the Earth, the magma becomes lava, flowing liquid rock, which flows across the ground until it cools and hardens into solid rock once again. Now that I've told you about volcanoes, let me explain one more thing. Thanks to geologists, we have a pretty good idea when and where these geologic events are likely to occur. Geologists help predict where volcanoes are most likely to occur, and this helps keep people safe by discouraging them from building homes close to dangerous areas. It is not always possible to predict when and where geologic disasters will occur, but geologists work hard to give people as much warning as we can.